Hi, I'm Daniel Andrews, owner and creator of Andrewsfootball.com. Hopefully you had a very happy and safe 4th of July. I had an awesome 4th of July. Hopefully you did too. Now, back to breaking down all 32 NFL teams. If you haven't already, there's this button right down here. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. My channel is scientifically proven to make all your wildest dreams come true. This is my breakdown of the Washington Redskins, not the Cleveland Browns. If you watched my previous video, I got mixed up. Andrew's Football makes mistakes. I'm breaking down the Redskins today. This video, it's going to be an awesome video. I'm going to have an awesome weekend. Monday, I'm breaking down the Carolina Panthers. Then I'm going to break down the Cleveland Browns. So I apologize for the mix-up. I make mistakes. If I make a mistake, I'll own up to it. I'm not perfect. But one of the reasons you should follow my channel is because not only am I going to talk football, in 2 months from now, I'll be in Las Vegas putting my money where my mouth is. And I'm going to make a video about my time in Vegas. It's going to be awesome. So let's get down to the video. Let's get down to the breakdown video. Okay, here's how this works if you're new to my channel. I break down what I like. Then I break down what I don't like. But stick around to the end where I break down the Vegas over-under and if you should put action down on the Washington Redskins. So let's break down what I like. Number one thing I like about the Washington Redskins, I love the draft. It was funny because the draft, if you're not familiar with the NFL draft, it starts on Thursday night. They do round 1. And then Friday is rounds 2 and 3. And then they do the remaining 4 rounds on Saturday. So I had to go to work Friday. And early somebody said, hey, Dan, who won the NFL draft? And the Washington Redskins. The reason why they won the draft, at least round 1 anyway, and I actually think they hit a home run for the whole draft, but the reason why I said that is because you got Haskins at 15. All right? Look at last year's draft. You had the Arizona Cardinals. They wanted to take a quarterback. They were at 15. Well, they gave up 15 and then a 3rd round pick and then a 5th round pick to take Josh Rosen at 10. Nobody would have blamed the Washington Redskins if they did the same thing and took Haskins at 10. Nobody would have said anything. Instead, they played their cards right, did their homework. Haskins dropped to 15. Now, I'm not going to break down all the quarterbacks in the draft, but a quarterback with Haskins' size and arm talent should not be available at 15. There's no way. He really shouldn't have got out of the top 10, maybe 12. 12 should have been the absolute floor at where you should have taken him. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was top 5. This guy has phenomenal arm talent. Okay, I know they drafted RG3, but his arm talent surpasses RG3. Now, RG3 obviously is a better athlete. It's a little weird because he's not a mobile quarterback. He's a pocket passer, but he's a big guy. The arm talent's off the charts. But, again, I'm not going to break that down. Getting him at 15 is a steal. Then you get a guy who, after the combine, if you're not familiar with Montez Sweat, he ran a 4.42 as an offensive lineman. It's an NFL record. I believe it's an NFL record. They said at the time. Keep in mind, he's going to play outside linebacker, play defensive end. So the guy's like 270. He runs a 4.42. It's ridiculous. And the production matches. You know, when you watch his tape, yeah, this is a guy, nope, I wouldn't have watched his tape and said, oh, that's a 4.42 guy. I don't think anybody thought that. Bottom line, he could have ran a 4.62 and he still would have gone in the first round. After he ran a 4.42, everybody thought he was going to go top 10. Now, let me be clear on this. He had a heart condition. I was told it's a murmur. I'm not associated with any one of the NFL team's doctors. I'm not a medical. I don't practice medicine. I did not do a physical evaluation of Montez Sweat. Never met the guy. So I can't sit here and evaluate on his heart condition. I don't have the expertise or the knowledge. However, from what I was told by various news networks is that he's been cleared. It's just he did have a heart condition. He was still able to participate in the combine. Remember Maurice Hurst? He had a heart condition. He wasn't even allowed to participate. He was able to participate. Matter of fact, he came up after the combine. It was like a month after the combine. Basically, he's been cleared by all 32 NFL teams. However, that caused him to drop all the way at 26. He gave up a second this year and the 2020 second round pick. Bottom line, there's no way either one of these players should have been available. And they fill needs. You needed a quarterback. You didn't have to trade up. Now, You lose Preston Smith in free agency. Boom, here's your replacement, a more talented, athletically gifted player. Plus, you still have Ryan Anderson from, what was it, 2017? Yeah, so you got two players that can step into the role that Preston Smith left. So this is a wonderful draft. But let's look at the other rounds, okay? Okay, you needed help at the wide receiver position. You get his Ohio State teammate, Terry McLaurin. I saw some mock drafts where he was going to go late one because he ran, I think it was a 4.35. He has great deep speed. He's 6 foot, 205, so he has good size to go with the 4.3 speed. You get him in the third round, which is really pretty good value. I would have been happy late second. I didn't see him as a first-round pick, but I saw a couple of mocks where he went late first. So getting him in the third round is great. And the best part about getting him in third is that if you draft him in the first round, you're expecting a first-round player to contribute immediately. He's not that guy. He's a guy you can grow with. But if you're looking for a guy to have 90 catches or 1,200 yards or 10 touchdowns, this isn't your guy. But this is a guy who has deep speed, which is something you really need if you're the Redskins. Kelvin Harmon, a guy in the 6th round, I think is going to make the team, and he's actually going to contribute. That's really rare that you look at a player in the 6th round. But you also got a pair of guards. You needed some help on that. The thing is even though you traded a second-round pick for Montez Sweat, which was a great trade, you got 10 players. And what I really love about the draft is almost all these players are going to make the team, and they're all going to provide depth. And that's how you build a good team. You get players in mid to late rounds that end up being backups and potential starters. Plus, in the 4th round, Bryce Love. Now, he tore his ACL in the season finale, but this is a guy who was a Heisman candidate, and he's also a different type of running back than Adrian Peterson or Darius Geis. This is a smaller, more athletic guy. Not going to be available day one, but he was available in the 4th round. Roll the dice on this guy. You need playmakers on offense. This is a playmaker. So I love the draft because you didn't have to you didn't trade up, and nobody would blame you if you did. You needed a quarterback. You waited at 15, and you got a player who really should have been gone way before 15. At 26, Preston Smith left in free agency. You trade up. You traded up this year's number 2, 2020 number 2. You get a player's top 5 or 10 athlete. Now, keep in mind there's holes in Haskins and Sweat's game, and I'm not going to spend this whole video breaking them down. But draft value, it's phenomenal. Plus, all the players you get in the mid to late rounds are players that are going to be backups. I wouldn't be surprised that 7 to 8 of the 10 players drafted make the team and actually help. Now, and when I say help, they may not starters, but you need help at backup positions. So this was a really, really great draft for the Washington Redskins. I cannot emphasize this again. Out of every team in the draft, I think Washington hit a home run. I'm not breaking down everybody's draft, but if somebody said who had the best draft in the NFL this year, I would probably say Washington off the top of my head. Again, I'm not breaking down all 32 drafts. Number 2 thing I love about the Washington Redskins is the defense. Now, they went 7-9, but in the 7 wins, they went ahead and gave up a total of 86 points. So if you're doing your math, it's under 12.3 a game. It's 12.2857. So let's just say 12.3. So in 7 wins, you give up 12.3 points a game. Now, if you don't know the story, is the Washington Redskins were 6-3 before Alex Smith suffered that awful leg injury. After that injury, now keep in mind they lost the game he was injured in, but after that injury they gave up 31, 28, 40, 13, 25, and 24. The offense ended up scoring 23, 13, 16, 16, 16, and 0. So both, I think the offense had more of an effect on the defense. They kind of meshed together. But bottom line, before Alex Smith's injury, this team was 6-3, and the defense was pretty good. Now keep in mind, in the 3 losses, they gave up 21, 43, and 38 points. So there's a big disparity between wins and losses. But look at the defense, man. This defense is just loaded. Now Ryan Anderson and Montez Sweat could both of them could start at outside linebacker. But if it's Anderson, you have four former Alabama Crimson Tide members as starters on this defense. That's not a bad thing. This defense was really young, really talented. Then you added Landon Collins, $84 million man, who's going to be a better fit in this defense than he was in New York. So this is a defense that was really young, very talented, and got better. And keep in mind, in their 7 wins, 12.3 points a game they gave up. That's awesome. When I'm looking at this defense, you got Jerron Payne, Jonathan Allen from Alabama. The other guy that they got here, I went ahead and hit the button there. I don't mind. Matt Ioannidis, he ended up with 7.5 sacks. He's like the odd guy out. This guy had 7.5 sacks. Ryan Kerrigan, awesome pass rusher. And then you got Josh Norman, still a Pro Bowl caliber corner. I was really high on Fabian Monroe. He hasn't developed into a Pro Bowl caliber player yet. But bottom line, this defense is young, this defense is talented, and they got really good players on all 3 levels. I think this is the best defense in the NFC East, and I think it's a top 10 defense. This defense is really, really good. So let's just recap what I like about the Washington Redskins. They just hit an absolute home run in the draft. Not only did they not have to reach up for a franchise quarterback, they get a guy who's a top 5 or top 10 athlete who's going to go ahead and fill a hole left by free agency. So it was an excellent draft just in the first round. The other 8 players that they got are all going to fill depth. Plus, you got some wide receiver players. You needed wide receivers. You didn't have to draft one in the first. You got help in the 3rd and 6th round, so you got excellent value for players who are going to produce. Just an absolute home run. The defense is young. The defense is talented, and they're good on all 3 levels. So I love the draft, and I love the defense. Bottom line, now let's talk about what I don't like, the quarterback situation. I already mentioned this. Alex Smith, they were 6-3 before Alex Smith got hurt. They ended up finishing 7-9. Bottom line, I'm looking at our lands, which has Dwayne Haskins as the rookie starting. ESPN has Colt McCoy. Me personally, if you said who's starter, I would have said Case Keenum. They picked up Case Keenum from Denver. When of course Denver, got rid of or traded for Joe Flacco. Keenum's expendable. So bottom line, though, if Alex Smith's not your starter, and he's not going to be, he's still not recovered, I'd be surprised if he actually played football again. That's another story for another time. But bottom line, if Alex Smith's not your starting quarterback in 2019, your quarterback situation's not ideal. Now, Haskins easily has the most talent, but you're starting a rookie who had 1 year starting experience at Ohio State. That's not good, okay? I personally think, of course, I live in Kansas City. I'm a Chiefs fan. So what'd you do? You had this awesomely talented quarterback sit for a year behind Alex Smith. All of a sudden, he's MVP. You should really do the same thing. But if you're not in a situation where you can do that, you got to start him day one. It's still not ideal. Whether you roll out Keenum or whether you roll out McCoy, your quarterback situation is not good no matter what. So for 2019, your quarterback situation is bad. Number 2 thing I don't like is running back situation. Now, Adrian Peterson can still play, but he's 71 years old, all right? I'm being a little facetious here, but he's not the same player that he was with the Minnesota Vikings. Darius Geis doesn't look like he's going to be available week 1. Very talented player. Bryce Love obviously isn't going to play. So you're going into this season with a guy whose best days are way behind him. Now, keep in mind, he's walking into Canton. You got a Hall of Fame caliber player. And he did have 1,000 yards last year. I mean, the guy was still pretty productive, but are you going to tell me he's going to be better this year than last year? That's what you're telling me? At 71 years old? Okay, he's obviously not 71. Bottom line, it doesn't matter how you slice it. The running back situation is not ideal. In a perfect world, you have Adrian Peterson and Darius Geis, who's recovered from his ACL injury. It doesn't look like he's going to. Hopefully, he will be able to play at 100% sometime this year. Third thing I don't like is the wide receiver situation. Now, I did mention in the draft, you drafted McLaren, which I loved. You draft Haskins' teammate in the 3rd round. Great value in the 3rd round, and then you get a receiver in the 6th round who's going to make the team and help. All right, but your leading wide receiver was Jordan Reed. He's really a tight end. He's listed as a tight end, and he was your leader in receptions, yards, and touchdowns. 54 receptions, 558 yards, and 2 touchdowns. several Redskins had 2 touchdown receptions. It was a total of 16. You had 16 total passes in 2018. That's not good. Bottom line, your offense ranked 29th in points. It was 17.6 points a game. You didn't really improve in free agency. And, yeah, you got a receiver in the 3rd round, but you're not sitting here and going, hey, we drafted a receiver in the 3rd round. Our offensive woes are fixed. No, you're not in that situation. Your offense really didn't get better. And look at the division you're in. You got 2 teams that went to the playoffs. So kind of to recap, your quarterback situation isn't ideal. Your running back situation isn't ideal. Your wide receiver position isn't ideal. Plus, you're in a division where you had 2 teams that went to the playoffs in 2018, and your offense, which is ranked 29th, 17.6 points a game, they didn't get better. So that's kind of the recap of what I don't like. So what did I tell you? I said stick around. We'll talk about Vegas over-under, and if you should put action on Washington Redskins. Right now, the over-under is 6.5. Now, the over is plus 120, which means that if you bet $100, you'll actually win 120, and that's for the over. The under 6.5 is negative 140, which means that you have to bet $140 to win 100. I think that this is going to drop to 6. All right? But at 6, negative 140, that's bad investing. All right. Now, if you can get negative 6.5 at 120 or 25, I take that in a heartbeat because I don't see how this team really can get the 6 wins. Not in this division. The schedule actually does help for some wins. They actually do have a semi-favorable schedule later in the year. Later in the year, the schedule can be a little favorable, but early on, the schedule is really brutal. I mean, at Philly, home against Dallas, home against Chicago, at New York, home against New England, you're losing that game. At Miami's winnable. After the bye, you get 2 home games against the Jets and the Lions. Possibility you can win those, but at Carolina, at Green Bay, home games against Philly and New York, and then you end the season at Dallas. We always play Dallas tough, but bottom line, at 6.5, I would take the under in a heartbeat, but I'm not taking 140. That's just a bad investment. I wager 140 to win 100. That's not good. I actually think that if you're dead set on betting on the Redskins, go ahead and take it. I think it's a pretty safe bet. However, I think it's going to drop to 6. And honestly, if it drops to 6, leave it alone. Don't touch it. At 6.5, if you can get 120 or 125, put money on that all day long and collect. Now, a little side note. I actually like Jay Gruden. I was a little surprised when he got hired. I was aware of who he was. I knew more about him than just being John Gruden's brother. I actually thought he was a good coach, a good offensive coordinator. I was a little surprised because at the time they had Mike Zimmer, who I thought was an excellent head coach or excellent defensive coordinator. He should have got a head coaching job before Jay Gruden did. It went flip-flop, but I think he actually has done a real good job. However, this will be his 6th season. His previous 5 seasons, he's 35, 44, and 1. Last 2 years, they went 7 and 9. This means that if he has another losing season, and unfortunately, I think he will, I don't think he'll be the head coach of the team. So not only are the Redskins probably going to have a losing season, are probably going to lose their coach. I see no possible way Gruden keeps his job unless they go 9-7. And how are they going to go 9-7? I just don't see it. Not in this division. Not with as many question marks as they have on offense. Keep in mind, their defense is really, really good. But on a side note, I just want to say flat out, I'd be really surprised if Jay Gruden was able to keep his job. So, hey, listen, if you're a subscriber to Andrews Football, you already know you're one of the greatest people on planet Earth. All your wildest dreams are going to come true. But if you're new to my channel, there's this little button right down here. Check this out. Check this out. Bam! Hit that button. Become one of the greatest people on planet Earth. Check out my playlist here. I got some really great content. I'm going to have an awesome weekend. You have an awesome weekend. Then Monday, and I'm doing this right, Monday is the Carolina Panthers. So have an awesome weekend, and I'll see you Monday.